The coronavirus has greatly changed the lives of Muscovites. For example, to go into a pharmacy or any other shop, one has to wear a mask. Passengers of public transport are asked not to forget about this simple and safe way to protect themselves against the coronavirus. Today in our program, we'll look at how Moscow is dealing with the coronavirus pandemic. This is Capital Ideas Life. I'm Mike Gibson. Let's get started.
Today on the program, food malls, GUM, and shopping malls are the most unusual places in Moscow where you can get vaccinated against coronavirus. What is vaccine tourism, and when will the first vaccination tours be launched in the Russian capital? How Moscow clinics are fighting coronavirus infections, and what vaccines are available to Muscovites today.
At the beginning of December last year, the first vaccination centers were opened in Moscow. Today, in the Russian capital, you can get a vaccination at your local polyclinic by prior appointment or without an appointment at vaccination centers located near many Moscow metro stations. Vaccination is the creation of an artificial immunity to many, sometimes deadly diseases. Almost 3 centuries ago, the world's first smallpox vaccine was advertised, as you would say today, by the Empress Catherine the Great herself. She was the first in the Russian Empire to vaccinate herself and her son Paul, the heir to the throne, against smallpox in 1768. In honor of this event, there was even a commemorative medal issued on which it was written, "She set an example herself." Today, the topic of vaccination in Moscow is as relevant as it was 300 years ago, but now it is not smallpox, but the COVID-19 virus. In these pavilions called Healthy Moscow, you can receive both the first and second dose of the vaccine, and it's absolutely free. In the city, there are already 46 such pavilions. For example, this pavilion is located but only a few dozen meters from the metro station Tseska. Many such pavilions are located across numerous Moscow parks. There, in addition to vaccinations, you can undergo a complete comprehensive examination without having to make an appointment. However, now, in connection with the worsening epidemiological situation, health examinations in all pavilions are suspended, as all health workers strengthen field services outpatient clinics. But you can still be vaccinated for free, without an appointment, on a first-come, first-served basis.
The process itself is not long. Upon entering the health pavilion, there is patient identification. The patient is then given a card, a consent form to the processing of personal data, and a questionnaire. After that, the patient goes to the general practitioner. A mandatory examination takes place. If the patient is deemed healthy, then the general practitioner approves the vaccination. After that, the patient proceeds to the vaccination office, where the vaccine is prepared for him. The vaccine takes about 10 minutes to thaw, and then the first dose is administered. For the second dose, we make a note of it ourselves, and the patient also receives a certificate of vaccination. All Russian citizens who have a passport or compulsory medical insurance policy can be vaccinated. Disqualifying factors to receiving the vaccination include pregnancy, breastfeeding, presence of any worsening of chronic diseases or infectious diseases. If a person is a participant in a clinical trial, he or she also cannot be vaccinated.
From mid-June in Moscow and the surrounding region, compulsory vaccination began for workers in trade, public catering, healthcare, education, public transport, and those working as taxi drivers. All officials and municipal employees are also required to get vaccinated. However, many Muscovites have received the vaccine voluntarily.
I thought about it for a considerable amount of time, but now, at this point in my life, where I have lived for many years, a lot of people have decided to get vaccinated. And I decided to do it too, because I think about the future, about my family. I think about the people around me. I had coronavirus at the beginning of January. I still feel the consequences. I have not got my sense of smell back, and I can barely taste anything. I no longer have any antibodies left. So I decided to get vaccinated in order to protect myself from new strains in the future and to protect everyone around me as well. I plan to travel a lot in the future. I want to feel free and confident.
Now all these famous and recognizable Moscow landmarks have one thing in common. It's possible to come here and be vaccinated against COVID-19 absolutely free. Depot Food Mall is the largest food mall in Europe. Here, on the 11,000 square metre premises, there are 75 restaurants and 60 market stalls. Every day, Depot is visited by 27,000 guests, including many foreign tourists. This gastronomic paradise opened in Moscow just 2 years ago, in March 2019, on the site of the historic Mayursky streetcar depot complex. The gastro-cluster depot consists of two parts, a food hall and the surrounding standalone restaurants. They are located in red brick wings along the perimeter of the gated premises. The food mall is just a short walk from Beloruskaya metro station.
The Moscow government approached us. We were told, if it's okay with you, we would like to consider you as a location, as a center for vaccination. As soon as we were asked, we immediately said yes, because we understand that it's our obligation to the public. And of course, the sooner we get vaccinated, the sooner we can safely welcome guests back to our site, and the less people will get sick. At the same time, as we can all see, unfortunately, there has been another rise in cases, with Moscow being hit hardest. And for us, as a business, there are new restrictions. If we do not contribute to such issues as vaccination, which is now a priority in our city, we understand the fact that we could be closed for some time. We think it's a kind of our responsibility to get the word out that there's this problem and there's this solution that's absolutely free for you.
Great. And is this a popular vaccination site?
You know, it's very popular. We were one of the first to open a vaccination center. That was in early February of 2021. As soon as we opened, there was a pretty big flow of visitors right away. It's convenient. You don't have to go anywhere. You come, roughly speaking, to relax with your friends or your children. The only thing you have to do is go up to the second floor, fill out a form in 2 minutes. The center quickly helps you fill it out. You get vaccinated and go about your business.
The vaccination center is located on the second floor of Depot. Signs are posted to help you find it.
There are 3 offices. I sit in one. A nurse sits in the other to give the first shot, and a nurse gives the second shot in the other office. There is a large flow. We are helped by the MFC staff and volunteers who are with us every day. They divide the flow into 1 and 2, which go to the first vaccination and the second one, respectively. Without them, it would probably be more difficult.
There are mobile vaccination centers in many other Moscow shopping malls, including GUM, Tsum and Yevropeyski. A complete list is available on the website mos.ru. Of course, vaccinations are also offered at all Moscow health clinics. You can make an appointment online on the state service Gosuslugi or on the same website mos.ru. After 2 vaccinations, on these sites you can download an electronic certificate of vaccination in 2 languages, Russian and English. It is assumed that the English version of the certificate will be accepted by hotels and airlines when restrictions are lifted and people start travelling again. There is also a special QR code on this certificate, which can be shown as a confirmation that the COVID-19 vaccine has been administered. Now in Moscow, Amid growing demand for vaccination against COVID-19, there are more and more new vaccination sites opening in the city. Their working hours are now extended to 10 p.m. and some clinics are open 24 hours a day. It is also possible to get vaccinated at Moscow airports. In the spring of 2021, Moscow Airport Domodedovo started issuing a yellow passport for vaccinations against the COVID-19 virus, according to the standards of the World Health Organization. Today we came to the airport to find out how such a document is issued and what you need in order to get it. Domodedovo Airport is one of the largest airports in the capital. Despite the fact that during this worldwide pandemic, the borders between many countries of the world remain closed, in the summer of 2020, Domodedovo became the leader in passenger numbers among airports in Europe. And in the first quarter of 2021, it was ranked second. This is because Russians have begun to travel more frequently within the borders of their country. For example, for 4 months in 2021, domestic traffic exceeded pre-crisis figures by 18% and amounted to more than 5 million travelers.
All this is due to the fact that Russia is a big country. There are different kinds of tourism. You can go to the Olympic venues in Sochi. It's a holiday spot by the sea. There is the Altai region. There is the beautiful Primorsky Krai. In general, there are places to go. If you compare this with what it was before the coronavirus, for example, domestic traffic now, it is almost 60% higher than it was before COVID-19.
If a passenger flies abroad or travels in Russia, in any case, they will need a PCR test. It can be done directly at the airport. All you have to do is fill out a questionnaire and pay for the service. The airport has 4 testing centres and they're all located in the general area. Passengers can choose a regular or express test, the results of which will be available in 60 minutes. Another service that is popular is the Vaccination Certificate, or, as it is also known, the Vaccination Passport.
First of all, you have to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19. Then every person who has been vaccinated, such as I encountered, receives a certificate with a QR code through the Public Services website, which confirms the authenticity of the fact that you really were vaccinated. And with this document, you come here to Domodedovo, present the certificate, and then the medical office at the airport has the necessary medical licenses. We can issue a yellow passport and put the information about the vaccination that you had against the coronavirus.
And how does this document differ from others?
This document has been around for decades. It's familiar, it's standardized for everyone involved in air travel. I mean passengers and airlines and border services. And in general, it's just designed to enter information about the vaccinations that you've received.
The year 2020 has radically changed the way we think about travel. Now that safety is paramount, taking a COVID test, having a certificate, wearing medical masks and hand disinfection have become standard practice.
At the airport, all the measures we are already accustomed to are in effect. It is clear that a year and a half ago, it was impossible to imagine that we would all be entering the store and airport wearing masks. So, of course, the mask system is in place. In addition to being an aircraft terminal, we also service airfields and airplanes. And we've launched a number of other services, exactly the kind of services that are more specific to the airline industry. For example, for airlines, we launched a special service for treating aircraft before departure with a special solution.
Last year, Domodedovo Airport received an award from the Airports Council International, ACI World, in recognition for the project The Voice of the Customer. As an airport that has paid great attention to passengers during the COVID-19 pandemic. Muscovites are now vaccinated with 3 Russian-made vaccines, Epivac Corona, Covivac and Sputnik V. Together with foreign developments, these vaccines are the first in the history of mankind to be developed and put into production in the context of a developing pandemic. Previously, as a rule, Such developments took place after the end of the active stage of infection in order to prevent the emergence of a new pandemic. One of the first in the world to publish the results of its research was the creator of Sputnik V, the Gamaleyi Russian National Research Center for Epidemiology and Microbiology. Today, it is the world's only registered combined vector vaccine for the prevention of coronavirus infection. It is produced at its Moscow plant in Zelenograd by Binopharm, one of Russia's largest full-cycle biopharmaceutical companies. According to the Russian Direct Investment Fund, which handles international sales of the vaccine, 67 countries have approved Sputnik V up to early June 2021. According to the number of approvals received by state regulators, Sputnik V ranks second in the world. According to experts' estimates, the production of the Russian vaccine will increase to 100 million doses by the fall of 2021.
The Russian Federation was the first country that officially registered a vaccine. The successes of our scientists are, of course, supported by the efforts of the whole community. And we must prove that we are one of the most effective countries in coping with the pandemic. And for a while, Moscow showed excellent results. According to a number of companies that do municipal evaluations and rankings of the effectiveness of policies in the largest metropolitan areas of the world, Moscow was in the top 3 in terms of pandemic control effectiveness last year.
The COVID-19 pandemic has radically changed life in today's world. Thousands of health workers in hospitals, clinics, and emergency rooms have joined the fight against the virus. To help them, modern laboratories have been established, digital technologies have been introduced, and a stockpile of protective equipment and necessary medications have been created. More than 60 Moscow hospitals were reorientated to provide aid to the city residents, and over 26,000 sick beds were equipped. The medics have extensive experience and many saved lives under their belt. Since December 2020, more than 20,000 people have been vaccinated in the MedC network of clinics. And today, here, the active vaccination program continues. MedC is the largest network of private medical clinics in Russia. The MedC group includes 31 clinics in Moscow and the Moscow region, and 16 more clinics in other regions of Russia. A year and a half ago, when the virus began to spread rapidly in the city, the first patients with suspected infection began to be treated by the staff of the clinical hospital MedC in the settlement of Odradnaya. MedC was the first among the private sector to deploy a COVID hospital. MedC Hospital in Odradnaya was promptly converted into an infectious disease hospital. On peak days, all 40 beds in the intensive care unit were filled with patients. The 430 less complicated patients were also accommodated in the single and double wards of the general hospital. 11 rooms of superior comfort of the premium ward were also provided for the use of infectious disease patients. Now the specialists of MedC again observe a surge in the disease among Muscovites.
Some time ago, we reduced the number of infectious disease beds, and now we've had a return to our previous volumes. Now we have 130 beds. 20% of them are intensive care beds, the intensive care patients that we continue to treat.
Since the beginning of the epidemic, MedC specialists have exchanged experience with foreign colleagues from China, Italy, and other countries that were the first to take the brunt of the coronavirus infection.
We really have to adapt previously developed treatment protocols now, those that were quite effective for patients of the first and second wave. We do modify them, and we have to add new medications and change the treatment tactics a little bit, because we've observed that the virus behaves a little bit differently.
It is already known that the disease manifests itself differently in everyone. For some people, it is asymptomatic, but for others, it is a serious blow to the body, which requires further rehabilitation in order to fully recover.
We have integrated programs that include both therapeutic and physical therapy methods. And in addition to inpatient rehabilitation, we have the opportunity to do it on an outpatient basis, and even remotely.
Now the Moscow clinic of Krasnaya Presnya has several treatment rooms where you can be tested for COVID-19, check your body for antibodies, and here you can get vaccinated against COVID-19.
We were one of the clinical centers that was testing the Sputnik V vaccine in October 2020. About 150 people took part in the study. This included our employees, who expressed a desire to participate. As a result of these studies, the vaccine was registered and approved for wide-scale administration.
Any Moscow resident over the age of 18 can get vaccinated at Medsi clinics. The vaccine itself is free, but you have to pay for the work of the doctors who prepare patients for vaccination and monitor them for vaccination. So far, only Russian Federation citizens are vaccinated. In the near future, Medsi clinics plan to receive the first foreign patients wishing to be immunized against coronavirus. The president of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, has personally instructed that a bill be drafted to organize so-called vaccine tourism in Moscow and Russia.
I asked the government to analyze all aspects of this issue by the end of the month, to take into account the safety requirements, of course, the sanitary control, to arrange the conditions for foreign citizens to be vaccinated for a fee in our country.
Vaccine tourism is a completely new type of tourism that will allow foreigners to come to Moscow to get vaccinated against coronavirus. The first vaccination tours are already under development by the tour operator Cosmos Travel, together with the Medsi network of private clinics. Both companies are part of Russia's largest investment corporation, Sistema.
The work has been going on since The Lancet magazine in Europe published the first article that Sputnik V had quite good results. So already then, we were receiving requests from many countries around the world about vaccination.
Such tours are already available for citizens of the Russian Federation living abroad in more than 170 countries. While travel companies are preparing to receive all those wishing to be vaccinated, the government is developing a single special entry procedure for them.
I hope that by July 1st this will be worked out. Then, accordingly, we will be able to answer our partners' questions. We've sent them our programs, our packages, and we're only waiting for official permission and official approval for the order of entry. Then it will be possible to organize flights, including charter flights.
The Russian Union of Travel Industry believes that people in Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and Latin America will be the first to buy a vaccination tour. Because of the shortage of vaccines, the vaccination rollout in these countries is much slower than required, hence the great interest in the Russian Sputnik V. Europeans have also expressed their desire to come on a vaccine voucher. By the way, this is an opportunity not only to strengthen one's immunity, but also get acquainted with Russian culture and Moscow sights.
Depending on the duration, since the vaccine is two-component, you either come for 3 days and then, after 21 days, come again for 3 days, or stay here for the whole period. So the options for packages can vary from 700 euros to 1,500. And depending on the types of services selected, hotels, because many clients will just want to get more than a flight and a shot, they'll want to absorb some of the culture.
Cosmos Travel Company will support foreign guests of the Russian capital throughout the tour.
When a guest arrives, they will be met by our representative at the airport. They'll be taken to the hotel, the next day to the Medsi clinic, where the vaccination will take place, and on the third day, accompanied as necessary to the doctor or to some program, and then sent home.
For booking vaccine tours, Cosmos Travel has developed a special online platform where customers directly or through the company's partners can choose and purchase a suitable package tour. There is a version of the site in 2 languages, Russian and English.
Anyone can come to our partners, with whom we work, in any country, and order this tour. Then, the partner simply enters the online system, selects the dates, makes the reservation, and that's it. The order is received.
Will the world return to its former life? Will we stop having to wear masks and react with suspicion to every sneeze? I certainly hope so. This is the programme Capital Ideas Life. I'm Mike Gibson, and thank you for being with us.